Hello, I'm Bernard Hickey from interest.co.nz and welcome to a special housing report brought to you in association with ASB. Today we're going to have a look at some figures from the Real Estate Institute of New Zealand, which has come out with its median house price for October. It actually rose to $335,000 from $330,000. Although it is down 4.3% from a year ago and down 4.8% from the peak, which was in November last year. Now, the housing market is obviously still in trouble, so it seems strange that the median would be rising. But it's worth having a closer look at these numbers. What you find is that first home buyers and rental property investors have pretty much withdrawn from the market. And they tended to buy cheaper houses and apartments, often worth less than $400,000. What's left then is people who are buying more expensive homes. Previously they may have already owned a home, and they've built up a lot of equity, and they're not borrowing so much to move on. So what we've found is that there are more sales happening at the top end of the market, and less at the lower end. In October, just 60% of the sales were for less than $400,000, compared with a year ago when it was actually 65%. And what does this mean? That greater number of sales, above $500,000 or so, has actually dragged up the median. And the housing market is still in trouble. And you can see that from the volumes. The volumes fell again in October to 4,469, and this is down a third from a year ago. It's worth too looking at some other stats on house prices from quotable value. These stats actually compare like with like. So they compare sales prices for houses in a certain suburb of a certain type compared with what they sold for a year ago. Whereas the Real Estate Institute stats actually compare all the house sales in October versus all the house sales in September. So you don't necessarily get apples with apples. Now the QV stats are not quite so up to date, but you could argue they're more accurate in the long term. And they show house prices have fallen 8% from their peak. We here at interest.co.nz, but not necessarily ASB, are saying that house prices are likely to fall 30% from their peak, from November 2007 to November 2009, because housing is basically unaffordable still for many, particularly first home buyers. Finally, some quick figures on farm sales prices. The REINZ has come out with some numbers showing the median sale price there actually fell to $1.5 million from $1.7 million. And the numbers of sales in October were at a record low 114, down from the previous record of 126 a couple of years ago. Farm finance is the problem here. It's drying up, and farmers are finding it difficult to get the big loans they need to buy farms. I'm Bernard Hickey. That was a special housing report for interest.co.nz and brought to you in association with ASB.